Welcome back, everyone, to Light Talk, where everyday people can share their spiritual journey stories with a safe and supportive community. If you want to be a guest on the show, email lighttalk423 at gmail.com and click on those like, share, and subscribe buttons. We're going to have a great time today. Our guest has so many awesome stories that we're going to I'll be in awe today. So let's go ahead and have her introduce herself.
Yeah, so my name is Alysia Lyons. I'm a coach for moms. Um, I've helped moms let go of their guilt and live more peaceful lives. So that's what I do in my day job. I'm a mom of a 12-year-old son, and one day he'll be on the podcast because he's told me that he's seen people and talked to people, and I remember a time that he was 2 years old, standing in a window and just jibber jabber for like 10 minutes nonstop. It was very clear he was telling somebody that they were not doing what they were supposed to be doing out there and out the window. I didn't know that at the time, but I'm pretty sure I even like posted on Facebook being like, who is he talking to? Not understanding that he probably was actually talking to somebody.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, we'll have to chat with him and get him on. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. Excellent. Woo, I'm so excited. I'm just, I'm like flying right now. I'm just like in this groove, man. I'm just,
You have really good energy because I was like having some not great energy when I walked into the house until we logged in on Zoom because of people, at Walmart just going
oh.
as slow as, and like you said, could they be any more slow?
Could they be? Thank you, friends, for that one. Who
Yes,
is it, Chandler? Could you be
Chandler.
any slower?
Yeah.
I
I
love
don't
it.
think she could have though, but go ahead.
Oh, we were just talking about a story that I think I'm going to start with you. So you were saying you helped deliver twins?
Yeah. So, in addition to being a mom coach, I was a surrogate 4 times and I birthed 5 babies.
Oh, thank you so
Um,
much. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That
That's
is
my
awesome.
next book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's written. We're in the editing process.
Okay.
Um, but I had twins the last time. There's so many fascinating stories around this. I really actually do think that this is kind of where my spiritual awakening happened because I was talking to one of I call them woo woo friends, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I've asked several people, I'm like, it's okay if I call you woo woo, right?
Yeah, get that straight there.
Right. So I was talking to one of my woo woo friends, and when I was pregnant with the twins, she's like, well, you have extra soul power right now. And I was like, ooh, I love that. I like having extra soul power. And these girls for sure are gonna do something amazing in the world. There was only supposed to be one of them. I'm still not ready for the fact that I gave birth to two. But the entire pregnancy, I was not ready to give birth to two. But they were born at 2:22 a.m. The twins were born at 2:22 a.m., which I just thought was cool in and of itself.
Right.
But I posted that they were that they were weighed 5 pounds, 5 ounces, 5 pounds, 10 ounces. And went on the 1 year anniversary of posting that, it said, all I saw at that point was 5551. Their birth date also added up to 10. And I was like, this is unreal. This
That
is
is
so
really cool.
unreal. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, and that reminded me of my mom. She she passed away a year ago last month. And this may sound like totally rude and totally wrong. But her passing was more of a blessing, really. And I had this thought like a week before she passed that there was going to be a 2. And I'm thinking 22 in the time that she passes. She passed at 9:22.
Mm.
And when they came in and told us the time of her passing, this is the sad, probably very sad for most people, but to me, I was just like, yes, all right. And everyone's like looking at me like, I was like, oh yeah, I got to calm myself back down again because I was right. You know, I had that number in there and it's just like, yes. I should have probably kept it down a little bit, but I didn't.
But it's
It's
exciting
like,
when stuff like that happens. I
yeah.
did I did a poll on Facebook of when do you think that the babies are going to be born? And the mom was like, I think 1228. And the very first person who guessed was 1228. And I didn't know that it would be 1228, but I did know that it would be an even day because all of my babies had been born on
On
even
the even
days.
days.
Yeah.
And
So
you
I was like,
still
as
in
long as it's an
contact?
even day, then
You're
I'm
still
good.
in contact with all of the babies? Oh,
All two out of the five. Yeah.
2 out of 5. Oh, okay. That's kind of nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Okay, so let's go into some of your other stories that you have. So, anyone, you could pick any of them.
Well, since you brought up your mom and the passing, we can talk about when my dad passed and I had a dream that I didn't know was a premonition dream at the time, but I had a dream that my my dad had died and I was grieving him, and then turned out that he wasn't dead, he was sleeping. And so I remember I had the same woo-woo friend interpret my dream, and she was on point. So I'll have her contact you so she can be on the podcast too sometime.
Sure, bring them on.
But she was because I went back later and looked, and she was really accurate. But when my dad passed away, it was Easter. It was Easter 2 years ago, but it was Good Friday.
Oh,
My
yes.
dad was a pastor, so like I knew he was going to go on Good Friday, or I was hoping, because it was like so fitting for a pastor of 40 years to be passing on
On
Good
Good
Friday.
Friday. Yes.
And my my brother was there the night before, and he sent a text message that said, just left. And it was a picture of my dad's oxygen vitals, because we were measuring that at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because his oxygen had dropped pretty low. And was, but at that point it was, I don't even remember what the numbers are, to be honest. Um, but I looked at that picture and I thought my dad's dead. So when I woke up at 6 in the morning, I thought he had passed away. So I went about my day thinking my dad's gone. And I was like, this is a really interesting feeling. Like, I'm okay that he's gone. I was very okay with it. I cried, but I was like, I knew that this was, you said your mom passing was a blessing. My dad passing as quickly as he did was a blessing. Um, and so I called my sister. I woke up at 6, called her around 11 and asked her how she was doing. And we're just talking. And then I get this text message from my stepmom that said, hospice says it'll happen today. And I'm just like staring at this text message, like, what does this mean? And my sister said, Dad's not dead. And I just burst into laughter. what what else can you do in that situation? Is like, it just, I I didn't know what else to say. But I was like, I thought that this text message from my brother saying just left was that my dad just left his body, you know?
Yeah.
So he ended up passing away 2 hours later. But he hasn't left. He's still around. I was at their house the other day and I was thinking, I wonder if my dad's here right now. And I walked past the laundry room and the laundry room light turned on right at that moment that I was thinking that. And that light didn't always used to be an automatic light or a motion sensor light. So that's new. I didn't even know that it was a motion sensor light. I had to confirm that with my stepmom. I was like, is that a motion sensor light? And she said, yeah, if you walk close to the door, it turns on. I wasn't close to the door. So
Oh,
even if I was, it would have been that confirmation that my dad was saying, yeah, I'm still here.
yeah, yeah.
And there was more stuff about my dad. he's he's done some stuff with the electrical stuff. My stepmom was home alone in the other room and she could not get the TV to turn off. And
Oh,
I just, when she said that, she's like, I did everything, pushed all the buttons, all the remotes, like nothing would turn that TV off. And I was like, yeah, my dad's trying to get your attention. And I didn't say that because she doesn't believe, but
okay.
he's also been at my brother's house messing around with in over there with the electricity. My brother's like, could he find a different way to say hi to me? Because like he's costing me money now. I was like, I know that dad would have thought that was funny. Um,
I've got some weird stuff going with my phone here lately. It has like just a small square in the picture frame of it, and inside the square is like a bunch of dots, and it flashes. So I don't know if that's something or not, but everywhere I go, my headlights flash or flicker. Lights everywhere I go flicker. And so I know somebody's with me. I just haven't figured out who.
yeah.
So it's like,
It's really electricity is really easy to manipulate. Um, there's my father-in-law passed away the same year my dad did, 6 months later, and he started leaving feathers for my mother-in-law, and she told me that one day, and I was on Etsy looking at cross stitch patterns because that's my favorite pastime,
there you
and I found this feather with an infinity symbol around it, and
go.
and it was beautiful because it was colors of the rainbow. And I bought it because I knew that I would make that for her one day. And I told her, I have other projects, but I want to show you what I bought to make you. And she saw it and she burst into tears. And I was thinking, it just moved up the priority list. And so I was
Yeah.
able to give it to her 3 times, once on Christmas, unfinished, once on New Year's Eve, finished, and then once on Valentine's Day, turned into a pillow.
Oh, nice. That's beautiful. That would be beautiful. Yeah. Wonderful. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, I do crochet,
Yeah.
and I'm very basic with it, but it gets the job done.
Yeah. It's something
I
to do with
yeah.
my hands while I'm doing other stuff.
Yeah. I've been making knockers. It's with a group called Knitted Knockers. And
Mm,
so I do make some of those. Yeah, I haven't made them in a while, but yeah, I can make those for whoever has had cancer and whatnot.
mm,
So anybody out there that needs them, let me
right.
know.
You'll make them.
I can make them. Yeah, yeah. Death is really funny though. I mean, before it would be like cry, 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 cry. And now after learning all this, it's almost like a just a funny thing. Is that weird? It's
it
just
it it's
weird.
given me a different perspective for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I started reading a book from Laura Lynn Jackson called Signs. Um, and it talks about things like the feather and, you know, seeing hummingbirds and for me, with my best friend who passed away 5 years ago, it's owls. And
That's cool.
so, yeah. So when she passed away, this was really my first experience of communicating with the other side. And I'll preface that by saying, and I wasn't 100% sure that I believe that I was buying all of it, but she passed away on the 4th of April in 2019. And I had an appointment scheduled with a life coach who was getting her certification. And she was practicing on me, which she shouldn't have been because we weren't supposed to practice. I went through the same program. We weren't supposed to practice with people who were coaches or wanted to be coaches.
Oh,
And so I shouldn't have qualified, but I had an appointment scheduled that day. And at our scheduled time, I logged in on time because I'm never late, except when Walmart people are going slow. Um, my late trauma comes from my dad, so it's related.
you're all good.
I I when I got on the phone with her, I said, I don't know if this is really good timing or really bad timing, but my best friend died this morning. And she said, well, I can talk to her the day that she passes, but I won't be able to connect with her for several years after. And she said, I'm not worried about you because you're going to be fine, but I'm worried that Xander, my son, is going to forget who I am. And I honestly don't remember if I stole her stuffed animal owl before or after that conversation. I have a feeling it was after, but I stole it because I remember her connection to that. And I needed my son to have a tangible thing that he could cuddle and snuggle. And and so he still has Shelly Owl, and he has a mommy lion, and he has a Xander cat because we all have our favorite stuffed animals.
Of course. I think we all do.
Right?
I still have all mine from growing up, so I
Yeah.
I love them.
And then 4 years later, on the 4 year anniversary of her dying on 4/4, I woke up at 4:44.
Ooh.
And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then I got into the car to take my son to school, and um, Halo by Beyonce was on the radio. And Halo,
Uh-huh.
obviously.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then Beyonce is also known as Queen Bee. And I met Shelly through the Mary Kay world. And their symbol in the Mary Kay world is the bee. And so that was very clearly like she's here. There might have been one other thing that made me feel that way, but it was definitely those things. And then I told this same woo-woo friend who interpreted my dream, who accurately predicted that I was having twins, even though she didn't like say those words. That's a
Oh.
fun story too. Um,
I want to hear them all.
I was on the a call with her, and I was telling her that, and she heard Shelly say, "That was me. I did that.
Oh, that is so cool. Like all proud, like, woohoo, I did something.
I
Yeah,
did that."
I
Yeah.
did that. Yes.
Yes.
That's cool.
And I had recorded phone conversations between she and I, not on purpose. I had an app on my phone that would record phone calls, and it was just recording every phone call that I had. And so we talk to each other every day, multiple times a day. And so I pulled up one of those recordings and I played her voice, the voice, and she goes, "That was the voice." And she was like
Wow.
tripping out.
Wow, that's good
Yeah.
to be able to pick that up like that. That's really
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. Mm. Someday I'm going to get there. I'm getting
Right.
there.
I want to do it too.
It's like,
So go ahead.
no, I'm just so excited to get myself moving to where I can actually start communicating because I'm so excited to. I've got so many questions to ask. It's like, come on, let's connect so I can start asking some questions and, try to figure this all out. Everything. I mean,
Well, yeah.
everything.
And if you haven't already, read Laura Lynn Jackson has two books, the Light Between Us and Signs. And The Light Between Us came first, and but I read them in backwards order. I'm in halfway through The Light Between Us, and she answers a lot of the questions um, that you may have, but I know it's not the same as like asking the questions yourself, but there are a lot of those answers.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be neat. I took notes, so we'll check into that book, see how that's
Yeah.
going. Yeah, yeah. So, we had the premonition of your dad, the house in 1950.
Yeah. So there's two houses, and I'll start with the other one because I went to South Carolina with a friend to watch her graduation. And we stayed in this house that was like this old plantation style looking house.
Mm-hmm.
And you could, I mean, it didn't help that we arrived after midnight, but I mean, I was convinced we were going to be murdered, but
Oh,
there was energy from the moment we arrived. And that was the first time that I felt that kind of energy without somebody else telling me. I can't go in that room because I can feel the energy.
yeah.
So when I got into that basement, like it was so intense. Like it was just an intense feeling. And every time I would walk past the staircase to the basement, because you we walked into the house through the basement. Every time I
Oh
walked past
my.
that staircase on the first floor, but really the second floor, like the main floor of the house, I'd walk past that. It was like you could feel it there. And I could feel it in the master bedroom, master closet. Like, so there's the master bathroom and then the closet. And I was like, okay, this door is being closed. Like, I closed off that door
Yeah.
and I couldn't feel the energy anymore um, to the closet. But I asked this same friend, I said, I know that there's stuff here. Like, the front door was open and we weren't even going in and out of the front door. So there was no reason for that front door to be opened
Open.
at all, let alone unlocked. Like it was wide open. Nobody was in the house. Um, it was that was unreal. And from that at that point, I was like, okay, guys, we're here. We're gonna be here for 2 more days. We're nice. We won't bother you if you don't bother us. And everything kind of calmed down. Not the energy in the basement, but all the weird things that were happening were had calmed down after that point. And so that house was for sale. So I sent the house listing to my friend and she goes, yeah, there's a woman in her 40s or from the 1940s rather. And there's an older man from the 1800s and he's the one that was messing with you guys. She's just chilling in the kitchen. But the other guy, he was messing, he didn't like you guys being there. So he was messing with you. So he'd move jackets and
Oh,
keys.
jeez.
And both of those things happened. And I didn't tell her that those things happened, but she called those out. So I was like, wait a second. You can sense energy like from a picture. So I took pictures of my house that was built in 1950.
Okay.
And I took pictures of the front of the house and then inside the house. And so from the front of the house, she could tell where my desk was and the energy that my desk is putting off. So she's like, there's like bright energy on right here. And I was like, that's where my desk is. And she goes, that makes sense. And there's like this super highway, um, energy highway that's in my living room. And there were two men kind of frozen in time looking at something. And I thought, I bet that's the plans, like the building plans to build this section of the house, like they added onto it.
Oh my.
And
Oh my.
then when I also took the picture of the outside, she said there's a woman who's standing over by the garage who's frozen in her pain. She's not aware that she's there. She's not aware that anybody else is there. She's just there because she found out that either her husband or her child died when she was standing in that spot.
Yeah. So
And so
sweet.
she helped me help her move on. Because I was like, I mean, I guess I got to help moms even after they leave.
And that's so cool. Yeah, I just love that too, is to be able to help them move on. I mean, how would I feel if I witnessed something like that and couldn't move on from it? Just frozen. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Whew, so
That
much
makes
to
me glad
say.
that I can't see all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'd have to go be a ghost hunter like she was, but
Oh, well, I'm interested in all of it. So I think to experience once to see how I go with it, then we kind
yeah,
of move from there.
that'd be pretty cool. I
Yeah,
want to focus on the living, but when I run across somebody that I can help that's moved on, then I'll do that too.
there you go. That's kind of you. That's very cool. Our time is up. It went so fast.
It did
It
go
went
too
so
fast.
fast. Um, I want to thank you so much for being here. I mean, you have such fabulous stories. I always get I just get so excited when I hear everybody's stories. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just so
really,
excited still.
yeah, it's really just a whole totally different world. Like angel numbers are everywhere. Like those are, and the breadcrumbs in the universe. Like that's how I see angel numbers and all this other kind of stuff is like we're being guided every step of the way.
Yeah.
And you just got to open up your awareness to it. And once you do, like my friend described something that she does called soul mapping, and it's looking for the signs. And I've told people about it, and I said, my brother was like, oh, you mean like serendipity? I was like, similar, but it's like that, but it feels more like a beautiful mind.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. It is beautiful when you can see it and have it, and ah, just so much with it. So much with this. Well, I really don't want to say goodbye. It's so much fun, so much fun. But if any of you out there have stories I would like to share, you're more than welcome to please email me, lighttalk423@gmail.com, and let's get together and chat and click on those like, share, and subscribe buttons down there on the bottom there. And we're going to chat later and have fun and enjoy the next show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.